What is up, everybody? In today's video, we are going to be talking about 5 ways to get your first social media marketing agency client, or if you're running any general B2B service company, these will likely apply as well. Now, for some context, I started my first company in 2015, and since then, I've done well over 7 figures in agency revenue and currently help people start in their online journey with an agency over at b2boutbound.io, link below. And in today's video, I want to take some of the learnings I've had from getting my first client and also helping dozens of people get their first client and break them down in a short, concise, and actionable video. So we're going to be going through 5 different ways because some of these ways will work well depending on your niche or your personality or your location. So it's not a glove fits all. I'm also not ranking these from best to worst. I do have my personal favorite, but I'm not ranking them from best to worst. These all will work. Just think critically about, will this work for who you're targeting? As for example, if you're selling lead gen to realtors versus let's say you're targeting consultants online. Some of these people will spend time in different places, and one method might not work for one, but it might work for the other. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get in. So the first one is going to be form posting. Now, I actually don't see too many people talking about this, but this is one of the ways I got a lot of my first clients. And when we're looking at what makes it hard to get a first client, it's a lack of authority, a lack of trust, and a lack of familiarity, which can be built by having case studies and social proof and reviews and being known. And you don't have that when you're starting out. So this is like a bypass for that. What you want to do is find a forum or community or group that has your target audience. You can find ones on Indie Hacker, on Reddit, they have on Facebook groups. There's a ton of different communities out there. Some are paid, some are free. Doesn't really matter, but you're going to want to find one where you can go and start posting regularly. You want to post valuable info. You want to answer questions. Even if you don't know the answer, maybe go and do your own research and answer. You want your name to become frequently known in that group so people build familiarity of you. And what's going to happen is people will start direct messaging you questions, or maybe they'll just reach out to say hi, or maybe you reach out to them. And over time of doing this, you're going to have some natural conversations which may lead to sales conversations, especially if you're steering them properly. And what's great about this is normally that first call doesn't feel extremely salesy. It feels like a natural introduction because things just happened organically. It wasn't a direct outbound message. So this can be a really good way to get a first client, or even a second, third, fourth, or fifth. I mean, go in any Facebook group and you will see some people doing this. And if you're doing it for a long period of time, that means it's probably working pretty well for them. Now, this is probably going to work better for people who are targeting online businesses, let's say if you're a software company or consultants or coaches, e-commerce, maybe service specific, like for example, cold email or Google Ads, like groups around a service. That's probably who this works best for. Now, there will be some specific to local businesses, for example, realtors or chiropractors, but probably a little bit less. Now, number 2 we have here is in-person networking. And this is so underrated. Now, obviously, this won't work if you're in a location where you don't want clients, but assuming you are in a location where you want clients, this is so good. There are so many local networking groups in major and even secondary cities that you can find on meetup.com, or Facebook groups. If you just search business group in your city name, just be creative with the search. And you can find dozens of these local networking groups, Chamber of Commerce, or just niche specific or person type specific business networking groups. And these generally have a bit of an older crowd. However, let's say you have a generalized marketing agency, you're doing lead gen. This would be a great opportunity to go shake hands, maybe dress a little bit nice, and use your personality to build rapport. And then your selling point would be that you have met these people and you're likable and you're in person and local, and you're getting your trust in a different way than just case studies and social proof. So this can be a really good idea if you're just starting out. And also, if you're not used to having sales conversations, or maybe you're lacking a little bit of confidence, this would be a great way to go build up your confidence before doing online sales with complete strangers who might not always be the nicest. So really good idea, and generally a pretty easy way to get clients. Now, one thing I want to add in here is one of the objections I get on this is it's not scalable. If you don't have a client, don't use the word scale. Do what gets you clients. Cover your bills, grow the agency, and then we'll start talking about scalability. So don't worry about that if you're concerned. You're probably not going to do this for 10 years, but will you do it for 3 to 6 months? Maybe, and it'll probably work. And if nothing else, you might meet some interesting people and learn something outside of getting a client. So there you go. Now, number 3, I'm not saying it's the best, but for getting your first client, this is my favorite, and that's going to be Upwork. There is nothing easier than Upwork if you are in a strong country. Now, if you're competing in India, it's really hard. If you're competing in Bangladesh, it's really hard. If you're competing in Nigeria, it's really hard. Just supply and demand issues there. Now, if you're in US, UK, Canada, any other major European city or English-speaking country, it's pretty easy. Now, getting your first review or two might be a bit difficult, but beyond that, it's really not bad. Now, a lot of these roles will be part-time. You're not going to necessarily charge a retainer. Maybe it's just hourly, but this is a great way to build your confidence in selling your service, actually do your fulfillment, and then get some good clients. Now, some people will say there's no people who have money on Upwork. That's not true. I have closed retainers up to $8,000 a month off Upwork and standalone projects in 5 figures off Upwork. There is plenty of big companies on Upwork. You might have to start smaller ones and work your way up and apply consistently, but Upwork is so good. Let's think of any of our outreach. When we're doing any of our outreach, we're reaching out to people and hoping or trying to convince them that they have a need for a service. Upwork, it's somebody saying, hey, I need this, and you are matching that demand. There is nothing easier than that, and there's no reason that you shouldn't be doing this if you are in a country where it's not crazy competitive and there's jobs posted that you want. Now, one thing about Upwork, you can't have a niche. You can't like search by like marketing for chiropractors. Maybe you can, but it won't be that many. So generally speaking, you need to go by your service, not by your niche. Number 4 is going to be personalized cold email. I say personalized cold email, not that non-personalized cold email can't work to get your first client, but again, you don't really have any selling points. If they're getting 10 cold emails a day, why would you be more interesting than someone else who has social proof, has a great website, has a personal brand? Like, there's no reason to pick you unless you can connect in a non-logical way, an emotional way. Maybe that's by leveraging interests. For example, you're a surfer and you're going after people who have surf brands. There's a connection right there. Maybe it's location. Maybe you have a shared experience, like you went to the same university. So personalized cold email based on an emotional connection, and you're going to be doing emotional selling. So that would be my recommendation for cold email. Now, number 5 here is going to be Lumpy Mail. Lumpy Mail is great, and I want to talk really quick about barrier to entry. Barrier to entry is one of my favorite things in business. It's what is difficult or expensive or time consuming, so other people won't do it, and it means there's less competition. Lumpy Mail is pretty inexpensive, but it's time consuming, a little bit of a pain. So a lot of people don't do it, and that means if you are willing to do it, you're going to have much less competition. If you don't know what Lumpy Mail is literally just sending packages in the mail. Not letters, but packages. That's what we call it, lumpy. For example, you send a gift or candy or something related to the niche you're going after, and you have an attached letter, maybe lead to a VSL or to a calendar link, whatever. It's really unique. Not many people do it, and you're certainly going to stand out. And the whole point here is they're getting on a meeting with you because they're impressed with the way you reached out. Obviously, your service and stuff do matter, but you can bypass a little bit of that requirement for social proof. And this is a great way to get clients. Now, as a recommendation that we've been through all 5 of these, I recommend that you don't do all of these at once. If you do all of these at once, you are probably going to fail. You're probably going to be overwhelmed, and you're probably not going to have it work. I would do 1 or 2, test them out, see how it works, and go from there. And remember, keep in mind your market. If you are targeting, let's say, e-commerce businesses, in-person networking might not be it. Just might not. If you're targeting doctors, maybe not form posting. So just use critical thinking, be creative, run some tests, and get the feedback. If you want help building out the systems needed to implement these, then you can work with me one-on-one down below at b2boutbound.io, where you can talk to my team and see if you're a good fit. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate it. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment, and stay tuned for more coming soon.